Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are diving into the frankly intimidating, super complex, but totally fascinating world of wholesale diamond pricing. And we're doing it by looking directly at the July 2026 IDEX Diamond Price Report. Now, we are not looking at retail tags or glossy marketing brochures today. No, this is the raw, unfiltered data that literally serves as the backbone for a multi-billion-dollar global industry. I know, it can look like a wall of impossible math at first glance, but I promise you, by the end of this explainer, you're going to be reading it like a total insider.
It's a question most of us have probably asked while, staring at a glittering jewelry case. How do jewelers actually know what a diamond is worth, right? Before a stone gets that luxury brand name or the fancy velvet box or that massive retail markup, how is its baseline financial value actually established? Well, the answer doesn't just come from a guess. It comes from massive, tightly guarded price grids that honestly look a lot more like complex Wall Street financial spreadsheets than anything you'd expect to find in a jewelry catalog. And that brings us to our primary source material for today. The IDEX Diamond Price Report is basically an analysis of asking prices for higher quality diamonds in the international wholesale markets, and it's updated monthly to reflect market shifts. Think of this document as the ultimate baseline. It tracks two main distinct categories: rounds, which are your standard classic circular cut diamonds, and fancies. Now, fancies is really just the industry catch-all term for pretty much every other physical shape out there. So think ovals, emerald cuts, pears, princess cuts, all the rest of those.
Okay, let's dive into this. If you were to just glance at the raw IDEX report, you'd probably be instantly overwhelmed by a dizzying wall of tiny numbers. But there is a secret decoder rule you absolutely must know to make sense of any of it. Right at the top of the report, buried in the header, it clearly states that these numbers are quoted in hundreds of USD per carat. That means every single number you see on these grids, you have to multiply it by 100 to get the actual US dollar price per carat. So, 100 is our magic multiplier today. Keep that in mind.
To make sure we don't get lost in this matrix of data, here is our roadmap for today. 1. Decoding the matrix. 2. Round versus fancy shapes. 3. The carat weight multiplier. 4. Color and clarity costs. And 5. The fine print matters.
Section 1. Round versus fancy shapes, the classic premium.
To really understand this, we need to isolate just one variable, and that's the shape. Let's set up a comparison between massive 5 to 5.99 carat diamonds of the exact same pristine, museum-level quality. We're talking about a D color, which is totally colorless, absolute perfection, and an IF or VVS1 clarity, meaning it's internally flawless or very, very slightly included. So the size is the same, the color is the same, the flawless clarity is exactly the same. The only difference we're looking at here is the cut, round versus fancy. And this brilliantly illustrates the staggering premium the global market places on that classic round cut. Looking at the July 2026 data, the maximum matrix value for a fancy cut in this pristine 5-carat range is 736. Now, applying our magic rule of 100, that means $73,600 per carat. But look at the round cut. It jumps to a matrix value of 1405. That is $140,500 per carat. I mean, for the exact same size and flawless perfection, simply choosing the round shape nearly doubles the baseline wholesale cost. No way, right?
Section 2. The carat weight multiplier. Exponential leaps.
First, I just want to give you a quick peek at the actual matrix structure so you can see the layout for yourself. Here is a condensed 3x3 snapshot of the round 1 to 1.24 carat grid. You can see the top-tier colors, D, E, and F, running down the left side. Across the top, you've got the absolute highest clarities, starting with IF, internally flawless. Finding a baseline price in the IDEX report is honestly kind of like a giant game of Battleship. You find your specific color row, intersect it with your clarity column, and boom, there's your baseline matrix number.
So let's see how this builds when we track one specific perfect diamond across different weight categories. We're tracking a round, D-color, IF clarity stone. At exactly 1 carat, the matrix value is 123, which is $12,300 per carat. Now, if we jump over to the 3-carat grid, the value for that exact same quality leaps to $699, or $69,900 per carat. And as we just saw, if you somehow find a 5-carat stone of that perfect quality, it absolutely rockets to $1,405, or $140,500 per carat.
It is so incredibly vital to anchor this concept in your mind. When it comes to diamonds, it is not addition, it's multiplication. A 5-carat diamond isn't just 5 times the price of a 1-carat diamond. Because larger stones are exceptionally rare out there in nature, the price per carat literally explodes exponentially as the weight increases. You're paying a massive premium just for the sheer fact that the stone is large.
Section 3. Color and clarity costs, the price of imperfection. To really grasp the price drop-off here, you kind of have to understand the scale represented on the IDEX grid. Step 1 is the absolute peak. D-color, perfectly colorless, and IF, internally flawless. Step 2, moving down and to the right on the grid, introduces a slight yellowish tint and minor internal inclusions. And Step 3 takes us all the way down to the bottom right of the grids, N-color, which has a very noticeable tint, and I3 clarity, meaning obvious inclusions that you can actually just see with the naked eye.
Now, what's truly interesting about this slide is the absolute lowest number we can find on the entire July 2026 sheet. If we look at the fancies grid for the absolute smallest size bracket tracked, that's 0.18 to 0.22 carats, and we go all the way down to that N color and I3 clarity we just talked about, the matrix value drops to an astonishing 0.5. Apply our multiplier of 100, and that is a mere $50 per carat. Crazy, right?
But let's immediately contrast that incredible low with the highest number on the board. As a quick reminder, that's the massive 5-carat pristine round diamond, completely colorless and absolutely flawless. That matrix value is $1,405, meaning an eye-watering $140,500 per carat.
So the crucial point here is this. We are looking at a single wholesale index, tracking the exact same type of gemstone, yet based strictly on just 4 variables: cut, carat, color, and clarity. The financial weight and variance on these grids dictate a market spread from a mere $50 per carat all the way up to $140,500 per carat. That, my friends, is the sheer power of the 4 C's fully mapped out in data.
Section 4. The fine print matters, disclaimers, and reality.
Okay, let's come back down to earth for a second. The IDEX report explicitly lists several vital disclaimers that basically mean these numbers are starting points for negotiation, not final retail tags. Remember, these are wholesale asking prices, not the prices of actual completed transactions. The report notes that actual transaction prices are heavily affected by the exact, specific nuances of the diamond's quality, the specific laboratory certification it carries, and even the geography, literally where in the world it's being sold.
And perhaps my absolute favorite part of this entire analysis is this tasteful bit of irony found right at the copyright line. Quote, IDEX does not guarantee the accuracy nor the validity of this information. That's right. The ultimate, highly detailed, meticulously updated International Diamond Pricing Guide explicitly tells you to take all of its data with a healthy grain of salt. It's a guide, right? A map of the market. But the actual real-world deal is always, always negotiated stone by stone.
Well, we've decoded the matrix. We've uncovered the massive classic premium for round shapes, we've tracked the exponential mathematical leaps of carat weight, and we've measured the literal, exact cost of imperfection. You now know exactly how the baseline value of these glittering stones is established on the global stage. So I leave you with this. Armed with the secrets of the wholesale matrix, will you ever look at a jewelry store price tag the exact same way again? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep asking questions about the world around you.